Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Powerful and Purposeful Prospecting for Lead Generation with MAPS coach Richard Schulman. Please note this webinar is being recorded and you will automatically receive the webinar recording. If you have questions for your coach, please type them into the questions box located in your webinar control panel. Following the webinar, if you have any questions about today's call or coaching programs, please email us at maps@kw.com. That's all from me. Richard, take it away.
Hey, thanks, Troy. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us here on this webinar. My name is Richard Schulman, like Troy said, and what we want to do this morning or this afternoon, depending on where you're at, is just share with you some really simple and powerful things you can do to help your prospecting. As much as we sometimes internally want to tell ourselves it's not a prospecting business, this is all prospecting. And what I've been doing for the last 13 years here at KW is just trying to figure out the best and most efficient ways to prospect for buyers and sellers. So let me share with you what I found out. As with any of our MAPS webinars, there's a question panel on the right. I'll try to get to all the questions before the end of the session. Let's jump in. So first, what I want to do is just give you guys a simple activity. One of the things I like to coach on with people is really actionable things. I find that when we give people huge goals and big projects to do, that they're harder sometimes to complete. So the way I like to start is by doing really simple things. So what you can do now is just do this now or just right after the class is just grab your cell phone and text 5 people and ask them for a coffee date, right? It doesn't have to be anything more complicated than that. You know, hey, Troy, you want to grab coffee next week, right? Hey, Troy, I'm going to be in your neighborhood on Saturday. You're free to grab some coffee in the afternoon. Something like that. And the reason why we do this is that we find that we're missing a lot of people in our lives. The people closest to us are the ones who are not prospecting enough. And those are the people who are probably most likely to hire us to broker real estate, and they're also probably the people most likely to give us the easiest transaction, let's say, right? That is, if our friends and sphere of influence, if those people are hiring us, they're probably not going to be, well, hopefully not going to be interviewing lots of agents and running around and that type of thing. So just take your phone out, text 5 people, ask them for coffee. You get bonus points if you're asking people who are not, your closest friends or people you just hung out with. Look for people that are past clients. Past clients are very interesting because they may not be in our sphere, but we might get them into our sphere, right? You might meet someone at an open house, but in my opinion, once you meet them at the open house and start working with them, now they are your sphere lead, right? Right now they are in your sphere of influence. So you may actually have friends now that you met through real estate. You met through a referral or through an open house or even a Zillow lead, right? So by going out and getting in touch with them, getting in front of them, what we're going to do is reinvigorate those relationships. And what you find, the more you do this, that there's deals out there that we're missing, right? If you were to do this every day, eventually you're going to get to the bottom of your contacts pile, and you're going to find deals hidden in there. Okay, let me know if you have any questions there. If not, we'll move right along. I'll give you a couple of easy slides while you're doing that so you can kind of catch up with that activity. Normally what I find in the full hour sessions that we do, people are texting, asking to do 7 to 10 outbound texts. You should be able to book 2 to 3 appointments in that time. So you should be converting around 40 to 50% within an hour for an appointment. Here's a little bit about me. I've been at KW 12 years, almost 13 years now. I love all the training. Troy and I were just talking. We're both really excited about Family Reunion starting next Thursday. Well, I always think Thursday. I think it starts on Saturday. But we're really excited about what a great training event it is. So if you're not going, I would highly recommend it. It'll be I believe my 10th straight time. I have to sit and count. Going. I love going every time. I'm actually bringing 7 people from my team are coming with me. My team here in the LA area, we're gunning for $1 billion in sales this year for our career. We have 14 people on the team here and have a big profit share. I mentioned all those things because all those things rely, recruiting a team, recruiting a profit share, making sales, all those things rely on lead generation and conversion. And so what I want to do is show you how to break down lead generation and conversion simply for any aspect of your business life. Whether it's your sales business, growing your team, growing your profit share, growing a third-party business, I also have an investment property business, and that also relies on prospecting. So we'll talk all about that. Okay, now here's what I really want to focus on. This is really the crux of what I want to share with you guys. I went to family reunion about 3 years ago, and I said, I really want to get my team to the next level, and I will spend, underline spend, whatever it takes to get there. I will go pay for leads. I'll go hire all the lead companies to have booths there, and whatever it takes, I'm going to spend my way into being, the next level of team up. And then I met with all these vendors, and I got all their quotes, and I said, okay, we're going to spend a lot of money. I think it was something like 6 figures was the projected ad spend. And I went and listened to Gary, and Gary started talking about the Moat. We'll get to that in a second. But the end result is we decided not to spend any money. We decided not to spend any additional money on advertising. In fact, we cut our advertising spend down to zero. So last year, 19, was our first year with $0 spent for new leads. Now, we spend money marketing our listings, of course, but we spend no money acquiring new business. Last year, our team did $125 million in sales with $0 of ad spend. Now, the MREA, Millionaire Real Estate Agent budget for that is for 10%. So the budget item in MREA would be probably around $250,000. So how are we doing that? So there's 2 things I'm really proud of. One, that we're doing a good amount of business without that ad spend. And 2, that we're able to increase our profitability. And if we're running at a higher profit, then there's more things we can do. We can reinvest that money into paying for more and better staff. We can reinvest that money, and we've expanded our office space to make our team members more comfortable here. And everyone on the team can take home more money. So we do that by having a real extreme focus on setting appointments. Now, I don't want to tell you that anything else you've heard is wrong, but what I want to do is tell you the way I think that things should be done. I think that there's too much focus on dials and contacts, which, by the way, I am a big fan of, and I think we need to focus on those things. But I think we need to get to step 3, which is appointments, because I listen to people on my team make calls. I travel and train around the country, and I listen to people make calls at classes I'm teaching. I watch them prospect. I talk to them about their prospecting. And what we're not doing, we're making dials, we're making contacts. Yeah, we should all be making more dials, and we should all be making more contacts. But the key thing that we're missing that I want to train on, that I want to teach on, is the appointment setting. Because if you set appointments, then it makes everything else easier or necessary, right? So how do we do that? Well, first of all, it's a mindset shift, which we'll talk a little bit about today. And second of all, it's a scripting shift. But the idea is that I want you to walk away with it. And if you're taking notes right now, write it down, underline it, highlight it, circle it. We need to make appointments. We are in the appointment business, right? When we get on the phone, our only job is to get a face-to-face appointment with a qualified prospect. So our goal is going to be to set 7 appointments a week. That's 1 a day. Everyone got that? I'll give you a second to write that down. And I'll give you a clue into the window of my day, just to give you guys a sense of what I'm doing, what I believe in. And I have 4 appointments today. I have a buyer meeting, a seller meeting, a sphere of influence meeting, and a recruiting appointment today. Right? That's 4 appointments today. And guess what? The first one's at noon. So after this call, I'll be in the office prospecting for about 2 to 3 hours, 2.5 hours, and that'll get me lined up for my appointments for tomorrow and next week. Right? Now, when I say 7 is the minimum, not the maximum. If you can do more appointments, and by the way, if you want to put up $125 million in sales, you need to be doing more appointments, then you can do more than that, right? But I found if you do an appointment-focused prospecting system, that you'll be easily able to book 2 appointments every day. So I mentioned Moat before. What's the Moat? So I'll give you a little context and background. I've been going to family for a while, I've been going to all the training, and for a while there was a push to grow our database. And that makes sense, and I get it. We're in a database business, right? And we grew our database. We have about 55,000 people in our database. And you guys might say, wow, that's amazing. I know it's one of the largest ones out there, top 20, 30, 40 in the company. It's one of the bigger databases. That being said, we only closed 160 transactions last year. Do the math. It's not good. And yeah, some of those are truly leads from 2006. I get it, yeah. But if we're only closing 160 out of 55,000, I need to add so many new people every year just to add a few more sales. So what we did is instead of going wide, we're now going deep. And this is what Gary's talking about, the moat. The moat is literally a moat around your database that go deep on your clients, build those relationships so that when other agents approach your clients, that they're not going anywhere, right? How do you build a brand loyalty to your real estate business, right? So we've been focusing the last year to 2 years on going deep with a moat around our business. So that means really drilling down and focusing on the active clients, the current and past clients. I'll give you an example. Right now, we're in the process of sending a copy of the Millionaire Real Estate Investor with a handwritten card to every client of ours who still lives in the home that we sold them. It's several hundred. It will take the entire year to do it. But that's what I'm talking about, going deep. How do we prospect by going deep on our database? We're going through our databases and we're shedding people that are not productive, not in our world, and we're drilling down and doing more and more engagement activities with the people in our worlds. So, for example, for my individual team members, I've maxed them out at 1,250 contacts per agent. And if you took this class 3 years ago, I would have told you that 3,000 was the maximum I would have allowed. And I had people successfully managing 3,000. But what we found is that you can successfully manage 3,000, but you miss a lot of business because you're not in relationship with all those people. So now we're focusing about how do we build the best 1,250 people. If you were at Mega Camp 2 years ago, Gary talked about an agent who's in the MREA, Christina Martinez, who had $100 million in sales, 15, 20 years ago when no one was doing it, and she had like a 400-person database. So we're focusing now on how do we drill down to 1,250 people in our world with 300 to 500 of those we would recognize them as a supermarket, right? That's building a moat around your database. And the way you do that is through appointment setting. Now, I hope that all made sense. Let me know if you have any questions. That's sort of the idea, the context of what we want to work on. This is a year-long, career-long project for me and for people in the classes. What I wanted to do was, while we're on the call now, is also give you guys some scripting for appointments. Now, I mentioned this, that appointment setting is a two-part challenge. One is I'm confident that we're not, as an industry, I'm confident that you guys are not out there closing for appointments as much as you should be, right? I'm not doing enough, you're not doing enough. We all need to do better at it. So part of it is mindset. The second part is scripting. And if I give you some better scripts, I think it'll be easy for you guys to convert to appointments. Now, just a clarification, of course, I'm not looking for you to convert appointments with people who are not motivated buyers or sellers or have some value to you as a sphere of influence engagement, right? If I get a call and lead from a sign and the guy says I'm not approved for a loan and I'm not looking to buy for a year, I'm not dying to go out and have coffee with that person tomorrow, but I may make an appointment to follow up with him. And then as a follow-up call down the line, I can then set an appointment face-to-face, right? I'm talking about how do we set appointments with our friends, our family, our past clients, people in our world, that's our sphere of influence, and people who are our A, B, and C level buyers and sellers. So here's the first script. Write it down. I'm here in Los Angeles. We're in a shifting market. I assume that everyone is in some sort of shifting market right now. If you are not, I'd love to talk more about it and maybe see what's going on there. But I think pretty much overall, look, the market is still strong here, but you know what? I am seeing some incredible opportunity in the market right now. Would you like to talk about that? When you use a script like this, it's really powerful because it really gets to the core of, is this person worth meeting with or not? If I call a prospect and give them a yes/no, which we don't love in sales, but this works in a scenario, if they're not interested in incredible opportunity in the market, we have nothing to talk about professionally, right? They're not going to get on the board for me in this quarter. All right, I hope you all wrote that down. You can customize this one however you want. The key there is the incredible opportunity, and is that something you're interested in talking about, right? Now, they might have some follow-up questions, but it will very quickly tell you a yes says potential buyer, and a no says no interest, right? Move along. If you have 1,250 people in the database, then you have more people to call, right? Now, this could be a follow-up, or this can be an independent script. And this is true for our market, so obviously it would have to be true for your market. Here in the LA area, we've seen prices down by as much as 10%. Are you interested in a home that's discounted that much? And then quiet. Just wait for them to answer, right? What are the best scripts a salesperson can have in silence? Ask them that question and wait for them to answer. You might get a yes, you might get a no, you might get an objection, a lot of potential answers. We actually spent in the full class over an hour working on basically these two slides and all the permutations. What we want to know is, listen, here's what I'm seeing. Does it interest you, right? At the end of the day, you're a salesperson, you have a product, and if they're not interested in the product, then there's no professional need to talk further. What I would do then is just say, great, can I call you in a couple months and check in with you, right? Okay. Hope everyone wrote that down. Now, don't worry about writing all this down, but I wanted to give you a sense of, like, how do our phone calls work. When we don't close for appointments, one of the reasons we're not closing for appointments is that we don't understand what we're doing on the phone, right? I don't know about you guys, but when I started, they basically said, go find an escrow, different company, by the way, but they said, go find an escrow, and then we'll help you close it. Okay, I don't know what to do. I assume that's how most of your training was. We start off with a phone call. We start off with why we're calling. Then we want to follow up with motivation. Now, this is more than we can cover today, but just to get a sense of how do we structure things. Everything in my world is really organized and orderly. And that's because by nature, I'm an incredibly disorganized person. But if I make this stuff organized for me, it allows me to focus on what I need to do. So when I look at this, and some of my agents have this taped to their walls, I understand where I'm going, right? I understand I'm calling, I'm assessing motivation, I'm checking for financing, and then I'm closing, right? Close, objection, question, close, objection, question, close, right? Now, when I say question, close, what that is we always ask a question when we close. We don't say, do you want to meet? We say something more complex than that. We solve their problem, and then we ask them to meet, right? We don't just drill them with the closing. We have to work it in for them, right? After that, what I want to do is write this down too, or screenshot it, whatever you want to do. And my agents have this taped on their walls too, is I have some good questions taped up here for me to see. Now, when I see these questions, they're not all apply to every situation, of course. These are sort of my 6 most general questions. What I'm doing here is I'm simultaneously qualifying them, and I'm also giving them information to close, right? If I know the first 2 questions are the same, right? But I like to ask them both because you get different answers. But this will allow me to understand what I need to do to close them for an appointment. What's important to do in a home search? Well, we're looking to move at the end of the school year when our kids are out of school and we need a bigger house. Okay, great. Well, it's February now, and the school year ends in June, so we probably need to be really searching heavily in April, May. That gives me a sense of timeline and would allow me to close for an appointment based on that. So all of this will give you information you need to get to your closing with them to an appointment. All right, you know that. Let me give you a couple more scripts. And the previous 2 slides, I wanted to give you the information. We spent a long time going through it in detail of how to use it because it's not just as simple as reading off of a script card. But that should at least give you a good start of what you're doing. Now, I prefer to start with a buyer meeting. I think that you guys should do as well. Although we do have a 1 free look policy that if you called in like on a sign called our listing or an open house lead, if we couldn't book you for a buyer meeting, we'd do 1 free showing and then convert to a buyer meeting after that. And the reason I do that is because sometimes people don't want to walk into a buyer meeting, they just want to see a home. And I believe that it's worth our effort to show them the home, build the rapport, and then go to a buyer meeting, right? I think some people will tell you that you have to always do the buyer meeting first. We do it first or second. It's never third, though, right? There's no let's do 3 showings and see. It's let's do a showing, let's get to know each other, let's see if we work well together, and then let's meet. However, my preference is always, always, always to do a buyer meeting first. So for the buyer meeting, I'd love to invite you to my office to show you how I can get you a great value on a home. How does that sound? And then great, what's important to you in hiring an agent? What's important to search? And then you can go back to your intake questions. Now, this close here will be informed by some of the questions I get answered on the previous slides, questions 1 and 2, right? If they tell me we don't know much about our search or we're new to the search, it allows me to immediately close for, since you're new to your search, I think it'd be great if you came to my office. I can walk you through the whole search process, right? So when you find information here, it allows you to go to a closing, right? Now, you have to be, real maniacal about always thinking about closings for an appointment. The appointments are going to be a showing, a buyer meeting, a listing appointment, a listing preview, or an appointment for a social engagement activity. There's only one: 2 buyers, 2 sellers, and a social engagement. That's sort of like, keeping your sphere of influence warm, right? Now, if the client is not ready for a meeting right away, then I want you to start talking about really valuable follow-up. And again, this is something we'll cover in depth in the class, but at least we'll give you a sense now. What are the things we can talk about in the meantime? So the short answer for now, what I'll give you is, people don't want your recipes. They don't want, a sports update. They want valuable information about real estate without a sales pitch. So we'll talk more about this in the class, but my pet peeve, I'm on so many realtor email lists, and every daylight savings time, I get to unsubscribe from like 50 different email lists, right? I know when daylight savings time is. My phone changes automatically. What I don't know is, can I refinance my house? I don't know anything about investment properties. Can you tell me more? It's springtime. I do need my HVAC service, and I'm always interested in market updates. So how can you refocus your follow-up activities to those 4 things, right? We want to be providing value to the client, not making sales calls, right? If you don't make a sales call, the clients will come to you when they're ready. All right, so we talked about buyer appointments. Now we'll talk about seller appointments, right? Now, what I'll tell you is that the scripting is very similar, and the mindset is very similar. Right? The mindset is that we want to meet with you. Now, here's a good script for you. I'll give you my insight, my thought process on meeting with sellers. I'm happy to meet with any seller whenever. So I know that there's training out there that says, wait till they're motivated, qualify them real hard. In my head, we're at a higher price point, lower unit count market. In my head, we're just not doing that many listings. If we do 150 listing appointments in a year, that would be incredible. That's 3 a week. I'm okay going on more previews, meetings. You want to sell your house in the summer? What if I came over now and talked to you about how to get your house ready, right? I want to get in front of people. So it's the same mindset. Sellers are the same mindset as buyers. We want to get in front of them early and often, right? Because in my mind, in my world, the longer we wait, the better chance they talk to another agent who does convert them, right? So here's a script we're using for sellers. Same story for buyers and sellers. Right now, looks like we're at the top of a market cycle. Rates are really low. Do you feel there's room for your home to improve in value next year? Well, that's a good question to ask sellers. I have sellers tell me they think, the market's going up, 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 up. Hey, listen, I don't know what it's doing or not doing, but tell me a story. We're at a 10-year expansion. Rates are really low. I mean, that can't continue indefinitely, right? What do you want to do next? So just a good question to ask them. I've had a lot of success asking this question to clients in the context of our conversation because it gets them thinking. And it'll get you, well, you know what? Let's talk about selling the home. What is it worth now? So good question to ask. And again, this is something you can customize. Right? Here are the facts. We're at the top of a market cycle. Interest rates are really low. What do you think is going to happen next? Okay, just you tell me. And the last thing I want to cover for you guys for today is I want you to think, and we're going to train in the class about really getting organized and efficient, right? We're going to talk about leveraging technology to make our lives easier and better, right? Now, be careful when you do this. I still am, really focused on meeting people face-to-face, which is something you can't leverage, you can't automate. But how can we make our databases more efficient? How can we use auto dialers, slide dialers, text message programs to make our world more efficient? So we'll talk about doing that. But at the end of the day, I love the tech stuff. At the end of the day, never forget, the tech is there to augment the person-to-person business, right? Gary says it much more eloquently than me. But the technology is there to help you get in front of more people, and for no other reason. Now, like I said, we're in a shifting market. And what I want you guys to think about, as you read this call, as you go on the rest of your day, your week, if you're coming to Dallas next week, shift is a time in the market when the market consolidates. In the last market cycle, about 1/3 to 1/2 of the agents dropped out of the business. That's a lot, right? that meant that all of that business went somewhere else because the number of homes that sell does not really change that much year to year, even in a market cycle, right? From 2006 to 2008, just using better systems, better scripts, being a better skills-based agent, I quintupled my business, right? And that's all came from agents who left the business who were unskilled. So what you need in today's market is you need to be a skills-based agent using technology to augment that, to meet people face-to-face, and you can grow your business as well. Now, we're seeing a shift here in the LA market. We're seeing agents leave the market. We're seeing larger teams like my own consolidate. We're hiring more agents onto the team, and we're consolidating business that other teams are not taking anymore. So this program that I hope you guys will take with me, I hope this call was informative, is to absolutely perfect the art of finding, connecting with, and setting meetings with potential buyers and sellers. And it sounds really simple, and you might think, well, geez, duh, I can do that. Yeah, this is about perfecting it, right? If you can perfect this very simple part, which takes time, takes effort, it will grow your business immensely, and it can all be done with almost no out-of-pocket expense, right? There's no marketing, there's no ad buying. It's just getting in front of people and meeting with them in a purposeful and skills-based way. So the call is Marathon Lead Generation for a Shifting Market. We're going to be starting right after Family Reunion in a couple weeks, and you can sign up at mapscoaching.com/group, or we'll send you a link after the call. The call is 149, and we've done, this will be the 11th one. We've had something like 1,300 people through so far. People have loved it. We've continued to grow and update the class as the market changes. So I hope that you'll join me. There's the link below. If you have any questions, just feel free to reach out. And you can even just reply to the email that you'll get in a few minutes, and I'll reply to you today. So thank you very much, and let me know if you have any questions.